The internet is broken. Business models and site design are entirely geared toward advertising and not the reader. On today's internet, advertisements are distracting, invasive, and overwhelming. In Den, the primary objective is quality content. Instead of ads, you may occasionally see a boosted post where a user has risked value to increase its visibility. Just like any other post, you can upvote or downvote to help evaluate the relevance to your community. The more engagement a boosted post gets, the less the booster pays. Depending on the evaluation process, a booster can get up to 85% of their money back, if the post is well targeted and engaging. In Den, quality content is the primary objective.
Good morning, denizens. I am Distant, and this is Gravity Crab, and we are here for Coffee with Den this morning.
Good morning, everyone.
After that ad, I'm feeling boosted. I was trying
a
to
little
come up
bit,
with
just a
good
little
joke.
boosted.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a good joke, and then in the moment, I just said, I'll go with a bad one. That'll be
To be
good.
honest, that's pretty good, actually. I'll take it.
So yeah, we've got a new month, which comes with a new layer creation process. So we got that to talk about today. I'm going to go through some of the proposals that people have put up over in the LCP layer. Just as a reminder, we do this every month, and there's a week of proposals where you can put in anything that you find an interest in that you don't find an existing community for on Den. You can propose your own. And after that, they get made into a proposal that other people can vote on. So if you get people together, let's say underwater basket weaving or something, and you want a particular layer for that club of yours, then you can do that here on Den, and every month you get a chance to create it for free instead of having to purchase it, or instead of having to pay a fee after the LCP is done. We can talk about that too. So how you doing this morning, Dave?
I'm Dave. David. I don't think I've ever actually gone by Dave, to be honest. Now that I think about it. Maybe
I
I was
went
a
by
lot younger.
David until I was like 24 years old.
Really? I've never asked you that before. When the Dave became a thing, because you were well into Dave mode when I met you.
I got divorced, and I figured it was a good time to change who I was.
I will now become a new man.
Yeah, basically that.
This morning I'm doing quite well, though. I'm having some coffee and hoping to wake up here.
Awesome. Let's jump into it then, man.
Okay.
If anybody wants to join and has something to chat about, there's a link on this post over in the Den Lair. If you go to Den.Social, log in, and you don't have to log in at all, actually, now that I think about it. You don't even need an account. But I'll just go back. If you go to the Den Lair, I always just show people what it looks like in case you're browsing down. It's the one with the rocket ship. I like rocket ships, just like a boost. So yeah, click here to join, and then that'll pull you into a lobby where we are on StreamYard. And if you do that, drop a message in the private chat so that we can see you're here, and we'll pull you on.
We won't just throw you in live immediately. We're not.
Yeah.
You don't click that, and you're not just here.
Well, that happened once, and that's why I wanted to specify, because my friend John out in California was on, I don't know if it was this or a Den Governance call, and he popped in, and then when the show came up, it was like the thought was, okay, we'll bring people up after we get an intro done. But then he was up on the screen as soon as we went live, and I was like, oh, okay.
Welcome aboard. You're here now.
Yeah, so JP12X, sorry about putting you on the spot like that, but you were great. You had some good commentary as well. Logan Driscoll, good morning to you as well. Good to see you this morning again. Thanks for joining us.
People saying good morning. Oh, we do. Hello.
So moving along, what is on the agenda? I just put this up yesterday, and I don't know how many episodes in a row I'm going to say, I got to put these up earlier. But I think what I'll do, David, let's make a pact right now. When you come over and help me with the mining rig on Wednesdays after this show, which we have like a side gig with mining going. I'm going to lay it on you. You got to remind me, hey, we got to make that post for next week.
I can do that.
A week in advance.
All right.
Week in advance.
All A week in advance is probably a good idea. I mean,
ish.
Plenty of time. Okay, a week-ish. We'll say ish. This is us we're talking about.
Well, the other
but
thing
just enough time for people to have a lot of, I would like a good amount of comments. That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, I overthink everything always as well. And so like if I put it in right now for next week or tomorrow or something, then there's going to be other posts, and then people on the day of looking for it aren't going to see it. I don't know. See, overthinking it, that kind of thing.
Well, that's all right. I'll just go ahead and start doing a reminder thing.
Looks like a couple of people are posting some more replies in that OP now, so that's good. See, it was good that I stalled there and talked about it.
Well done.
So let's see, what is on the agenda? We're going to talk about the LCP. If you notice, I've got a million tabs open at the top of my browser window. And we're going to go through and talk about some of the proposals that are up and some of the proposals that are already available from last month or over the last year, really, for voting on. Because if your proposal doesn't win, it stays there for next month. So it could win in 6 months. Who knows?
And that's the thing where also people can potentially buy out if they decide they don't. If their layer doesn't get chosen, they can go ahead and say, I like this enough, and I can go ahead and pay a certain amount of matter for it, right? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I'm still rusty a bit on how that all is going down. So I'm learning as much as most people are today.
That's fine. That's one of the things about Den is it can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be.
Oh yeah, it can be just points if you want it to be.
Or not even that. Like it can literally just be, and in fact, I look at the whole, like I look at the, what am I trying to say? I look at it as basically people that don't even have an account would want to come look at a certain layer to see what the top post is, that kind of thing.
Kind of like when people just, I don't want to use Reddit as an example, but when you're hunting around the internet looking for something and somebody's got some content that they've, that's very specific to what you're trying to find, and you don't want to have to make like an account and all that stuff. But
I'm going to copy this link and share it to somebody who shouldn't be awake yet, that is, and see if they want to jump in for some reason.
Who are we bringing in?
Oh, I won't say.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right, there we go. So, as I was saying, LCP. Let's go over to the one. I've only looked at one of them myself so far. Haven't gotten through a bunch of them. I noticed there was.
I took a brief glance at a few.
As a proposal, though, and I thought that was interesting. Because that is a highly divisive topic, too. And so one of the goals that I have for Den is to get people who disagree about stuff to come together in the same forum and talk like adults about it, which you should be able to do if you want to articulate your point. If you have an original opinion that is your opinion and not somebody else's, then it stands to reason that you should be able to talk about that without getting, without a lot of times I'll see, people on other forums and in other websites and things like that, just posting a video or posting like a YouTube link saying, no, just watch this and you'll see. What I would love to see is actual conversation between people who know about firearms and people who don't, and people who are pro, concealed carry, and people who are anti-concealed carry.
People have very different opinions on these subjects, actually talking about it instead of just like, here's somebody on the internet ranting about it.
Right. Yeah. I just thought it would be really interesting, and maybe I'm alone in the world here, but I thought it would be really interesting to have a place to discuss things like adults. And maybe I'm the asshole. I don't know.
No, definitely not. I think the place to discuss things like adults is sort of one of the best ways to describe the whole thing overall, because with the striving for quality content, it would be also good to strive for people to have conversations that are actually engaging and seems like they actually bring up points that are their own instead of just pulling things out of places online. And if they do, that's fine. But you know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean. Yeah. Regurgitating someone else's opinion.
Right.
So let's see. This I wanted to mention was a pretty good strategy that Fust employed. For one, the template was followed. There's a template so that everyone understands what the layer is supposed to be out, what the goals are, what is your plan for bringing people to the layer from outside of Den, to get it going, that kind of thing. And this was a pretty good write-up. No spam, malicious comments. Don't be rude. Be respectful. Because the easiest thing to do is just go away if all you want to do is yell at people, right?
Yeah, easiest way to take it.
And I keep talking about that just because of the topic of this layer proposal. I expect that people will have strong feelings about their opinion.
It's one of those topics where people do have strong feelings one way or the other, usually.
Yep. And if you notice, this has been boosted. So either Foos or someone else boosted it for visibility, which is a really good thing, a good way to get visibility, to get people to see what you're trying to do. And just as a reminder, you can click on any boost to see the details of like what they boosted, if it's internal, external. So if you see somebody else employing a strategy and it's working out for them, and you as a creator want to copy them, you can do that. You can go see what they did and maybe tweak it to your own taste.
I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could do that. I kind of like the firearm proposal.
I wasn't sure about this one at first, but you said this is a game, right? Stellaris?
Yep. I have very little experience with it. Very little. I've seen a few people play it, but I haven't really played it myself yet.
I'm guessing it's a space game.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm going to say maybe trading resources, but I don't want to jump in and say that I know what it is when I don't.
Yeah. Well, it looks like there's room for guides, questions, and tips and advice, so it must be a pretty in-depth game. Let's see. Description: a place to share content, ask questions, or talk about the 4X Grand Strategy game. It's a grand strategy game.
Ooh.
Stellaris by Paradox Development Studios. The gameplay revolves around space exploration.
Oh, it's Paradox? Ooh.
Managing an empire. You familiar with them?
Oh, yeah. Paradox made stuff like, you ever played, is it Crusader Kings? I think it's like a massively in-depth, 10th and 11th century medieval take over the world game. Essentially, you start in a place that's weirdly historically accurate, and it just kind of rolls from there.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do everything down to like managing. You can manage down to like the tiniest little sub kingdom inside of a kingdom and try to like claw your way up.
Okay.
It's one you'd actually probably like.
I mean, I like stuff like that. The micromanaging things like civilization and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm down for this.
I like mining. For some reason, I like mining in real life and in video games.
Yeah, I was going to say you like mining many different ways.
Yeah. So yeah, I could have just read the description and answered my own question. Diplomacy, spacefaring civilizations. That actually seems like kind of my jam a little bit.
It's kind of cool.
Especially if it's a big world, and what would be cool is to have like a Den guild or something like that.
Oh, that'd be kind of neat actually for some games that have the guild system to where you use like multiplayer games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I would say that who's this? This is Alxons. You should if this passes, and I hope everyone's layer passes over time, you should think about like making it into a Stellaris Den guild, and I'll join. And I've never played it before, but I've played games and I'm good at them, so I can check that out.
He says good at them. We'll say good at them.
I'm not good. David, I'm not good at what is the game? Age of Empires 2.
Specifically Age of Empires 2.
Yeah.
All right. But you did end me in Civilization, so there's that.
Yeah, well,
while bluffing the whole time.
Right. Well, we were playing games that the other person hasn't played much, so we had, I had the advantage on that one.
Just a little.
So, raise an LCP. You can propose to. I don't think it matters as long as it's not like a one that's already. I mean, you can do whatever you want, really. But I would say that you should definitely follow the template, or it might not get created, because the template allows us to put the appropriate information in the right fields over in the LCP process. So news and education. General news and education layer would appeal to me. Someone may have already proposed this idea. I'm new to this site. But how about some top-level categories for some of the layers that could be combined into groups while remaining separate? All right, let me read that again. Hold on. Some top-level categories for some of the layers that could be combined into groups. The categories could be combined into groups while remaining separate. Okay, so what that sounds like to me is basically what we have in mind for the tagging system. Right now, the tags are hold on. I gotta turn off my messages. I didn't realize I had all my messaging apps open. But they're just up there for display to help you navigate and see what's what. and eventually you'll be able to sort by those. So you'll be able to make sub layers and like top layer, categories of posts. So like I'll use the music layer for example. So you could click on rock, and maybe you'll only hear rock, or you only see rock in your feed. So it allows you to effectively make a layer into sub layers, right?
Right. Just kind of sort everything down into kind of more generally what you're looking for.
Sorry, I just got way off. I don't multitask well, and then especially in the morning. So I should stop trying to do that. All right. I found the tab that was bleeping. I'm sorry. Was that coming through on your end?
Just a skosh.
Okay, cool. Sometimes it just hides among. Well, you see how many tabs I leave open, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
I've known that for a while.
I think this will get done, Raze. I think this will get done with the tagging system, and that'll be great. That's a good suggestion. Next time, do the template that looks like this, where you have proposed name, short name, layer name, short name. This is just like this is what it's called when you search for the layer in the title screen. Like right here, it says layer creation process LCP, and then short name is like the URL slug. If you were to type it in up here, it'd be l/LCP. That's your short name. Just that's what that means. So follow that template. Solar plants layer. Yes, this is gardening and stuff needs to be a layer. Excuse me.
Somebody mentioned that on Introduce Yourself the other day, actually, that she was really into gardening. And somebody mentioned like, oh, we don't have that layer. That might actually be the same person now that I think about it. But
no, if I remember.
If not, that's the layer for her.
Yeah, it was somebody else that was talking about that. But yeah, there's a lot of people. And maybe if we have a gardening layer, I can finally get my wife to join, because she's really into plants and gardening and stuff too. I haven't been able to drag her onto Den yet. She's too busy at the lab. But this would be a cool layer. It doesn't match the format, but there's enough information to where it could probably make it into all the different things, different categories of info. Right. So let's see. Go check out that proposal. I like that one. And I would say not just check out, but any of these, reply in to the post if you're down to help, or like to vote on it even, just so that people have an idea of if this is going to be created. You can look down in the replies and see, who's interested in joining, who might be the initial owners of the group, that kind of thing.
And like, if you go in there and you comment on it and say, let's say you bring a really good suggestion to it, the people that are trying to set it up may even say like, hey, let's bring you in on this. And, here you can own part of the layer. Just as a thought.
Logan, which layer was yours? Logan says, thanks for your support with my layer. I don't remember which one you proposed, so dump that in chat whenever you get a minute to. Next proposal is crypto moonshots. Again, we should follow the template so that everybody can have a quick reference to what it's about. This layer, firearms. Yeah, okay. So Logan proposed the firearms one. Great.
Oh, okay.
In this layer, I get that autocorrect a lot. We'll be focused and determined to be financially free, and we will be our own bosses. Nowadays, because of crypto, it's possible from a 5 to like 200 in just one altcoin and other launch pads. So we want all those who are destined for riches to be part of this layer. We would only be discussing legit coins with high potential, no shit coins. Thank you. Investing in crypto is the way out. This is kind of like my attitude too.
It's a little bit different than what I was thinking originally with the moonshots. So I immediately saw moonshots and I thought about the terrible land of the Reddit moonshots board. Because it's just shit coins essentially over and over, and people saying like, buy this, buy this, buy this. And then just nothing ever comes of it. No one ever responds. No one ever comes back and follows up on anything. It's just gone. So this actually sounds like it would be a little bit better managed than that.
Yeah. That reminds me of like, what is it? What is that site? Hold on. PooCoin. There's a whole website for just
really
shitcoins. Yeah. And it's funny because it's actually not a bad community at all. And there's some really good projects on here. But I imagine that there would be a lot of PooCoin charts in the Reddit moonshots.
Probably. I just see it these days. It's still, when I slide through Reddit, it's still something I have like sub to. So I'll just be going through and I'll all of a sudden see a huge just tag of emojis and memes. It's just like, buy this.
Yup. I just made a connection. Logan is Foosh. I didn't realize that. So now I know.
So I want to say something about this real quick. So this guy, not this guy, but this.
Just the help others layer proposal?
Yeah, somebody elsewhere, I think we looked at a few minutes ago, mentioned sort of in their lair as well, a place for people that are new to ask questions and get more support.
Yes.
There sort of is that over on the Den support place.
Yeah. Right.
But I think that's a great idea, actually, if one of those two became a thing. So people could just
Like
kind of go in there and dump.
Unofficial Den support?
Yeah, like where other people can sit there and, maybe. So let's be honest, the term Den support immediately kind of makes you skittish to reply because it seems like, it should only be people that know a whole lot about what they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
If it was just like a really simple place for people to ask like a really quick question that then they could just get linked to
the Den
something.
support layer feels more like an official tech support kind of thing.
It does.
Where maybe a more general like tips and tricks, Den tips and tricks, or help others layer.
Yeah, or even
Okay.
if somebody is like trying to do something over and over again and just doesn't fully get what they're doing, or it's not working out for them the best, like, hey, why isn't this doing the way, or why isn't this resulting in what I expect?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Not Den specific so much.
Yeah, more than just a little bit. And that might not be the idea these people are going for. It was just kind of what I gathered by seeing but several people asking for layers or layers that at least can help people that are new and don't fully understand things, which we're going to be doing some videos about here soon. So hopefully that also helps.
All these liars coming around, man.
I like the liars, actually. I had not noticed that until you just pointed it out, and now I will never be able to unnotice it.
Yeah, it's probably going to become a running joke at some point because it's going to continue
The
happening.
liars? Oh, it's going to be...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the memes that could be made with that.
Yeah, so the type of content proposed here is basically anything. It could be health, finance, that kind of thing.
I
Hey,
was thinking maybe not that general, but...
Yeah. Okay. An ecosystem where we could even fund some startup or even other crypto community efforts all together. Yeah, it's kind of, it reminds me of basically just starting a co-op, right? A collaborative kind of like grassroots community where you just want to help each other out, generally like a grassroots common support group, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
Let's see. And I should have been, but I have not been voting on these or on the tags since I've been going through them. But yes, that is a proposal, so I will jump into the consensus there. Just a reminder, the tags, you also get rewarded for, it's not an announcement. You also get rewarded for voting on the tags. And the tags are based on consensus. And after you get a handful of people voting on them, you will see some of them will start going away. Some of them may turn red. Some of them may turn transparent or be partially green. And that just and then the order of them showing up is going to be the order of consensus. So like more people, let's say there was 12 tags here for some reason. More people voted, yeah, it's a proposal, it's original, than voted, whatever the other ones might be.
I'll see what you just did there by telling that one, you went through, you were like, yeah, this is original. Yeah, this is a proposal. Oh, this is not an announcement. And just really quickly did that.
Yes.
That's not necessarily considered negative. That's another thing that I see pretty frequently, people just seeing that as a negative thing. It's like, no, that's just saying, hey, all your other tags are absolutely on point. This one's just not. And that's all. It's not like you're doing this wrong. It's more of a...
We've been taught to think that way, We've been taught to think that that negative is negative. And what I mean by that is like that a negative value is bad. That negative is bad, right? Negative can be feedback. Negative can just be a tip or helpful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny how often negative stuff comes out being positive at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. So I agree with that.
With people being people being taught to think that anything negative is considered bad. I was talking to Jackie about this the other day. With like a star system, You know, you have like, 1 to 5 stars. Any 1 or 5 is the only 2 that matter in anything. Like with restaurant service, if you give somebody a 3-star, their boss sees that as a 1-star, and it's like, that's it.
Like, what's the point? Kind of thing.
There is no scale most of the time.
You ever have some kind of call on like a internet service, something, maybe Google Voice or something like that? At the end, it says, rate the call. How was the call? And you'll be like, oh, like 4 stars. That was like, it wasn't mind blowing, but there were no problems. So hell yeah,
it was fine.
And then you give it 4 stars, and then you get a new window to punish you for choosing less than 5 that says, well, what was the problem? Why was it less than 5? And it's like, okay, now it's 3 because that's annoying.
See, I don't want to see this. Like, you just asked for my opinion, and I wanted you to have it real quick.
Yeah, stop punishing me for having an opinion. If I'd have said 5, it would have just went away, and I wouldn't have had to bother with it anymore.
It would just said thank you.
It teaches me not
thanks
to,
for 5 stars.
It teaches me not to care about that anymore. It's not counterproductive. That's not what we want Den to do. We want a range of things, not just a binary environment.
I would see 4 stars and be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, totally. So Internet Wonders, what is this about?
I was vaguely reading through that one.
This could be really something, because the internet today,
less known
you
websites.
read the description, it's talking about less known websites and internet tools, anything interesting online, that kind of thing. The internet's full of less known, interesting, and useful websites, often made by amateurs or people that make websites and programs for a hobby. This would be a great platform to give exposure to many talented people in the space. So the internet, if you remember, used to mean a whole bunch of websites all over the web. And now it means like an app on your phone, commonly. Facebook a couple of months ago went down for like a day. I don't know, 8 hours or something, right? Something unheard of on Facebook.
Wild to watch.
And people lost their minds, and they were calling their ISP. Like around here, like Cox was being called, the internet service provider was being called, asking why the internet wasn't working because Facebook was down. And so that's the point where we are today. Anybody who grows up with a phone in their pocket, like they see apps, they see an interface to every single website has its own app and its own, instead of a web browser, and it being common to have a computer and that kind of thing.
So a lot of people aren't just sitting in front of their machine. We're going to use the term surfing the net. Mm-hmm. A lot of people aren't just sitting there kind of looking around for cool old stuff on the internet, or even cool new stuff on the internet. This would be a really neat layer. Actually.
Yeah, I think it would come out with some cool stuff.
It'd be the kind of place that, like, if you ever watch like a Nexpo video or something on YouTube, where the guy will go through and he'll be like, "This is something that just popped. We're going surfing on the internet." He'll find stuff that's. He did a video a while back on a thing called Kanye Quest, where there was this weird game called Kanye Quest, and it was about restoring the original base God order. It was some wild concept. It was funny, but it was a front end for a cult. And that didn't get figured out until like 5 years later, which is insane. So that's the kind of like layer where weird stuff like that would show up. Or like you'd find something that's been buried for 25 years from early people messing around on mainframes. That'd be great.
There's a lot of useful stuff out there. People just don't have an easy interface to it like they used to, because the easy interface is the web. You remember AOL? I don't know if you do or not. I'm a little bit older than you. AOL was like AOL was kind of like Facebook a little bit. It was its own intranet kind of thing. Like you could make a website on AOL's network, but it wasn't on the internet. You had to go in through the AOL portal to get to it.
You're kind of piecing stuff together with like pre-made templates, kind of like what Wix does and stuff like that now.
And then we broke out of that to the greater internet, and then we collapsed back into it again somehow. So maybe it's just ebb and flow.
As a previous computer technician, I can tell you that thanks to a $5 program, it was at least $5 2 years ago, called AOL Gold, people are still just firmly locked into that environment you're talking about.
That exists.
It's still here. AOL Gold, it looks almost exact. It doesn't look exactly the same, but it just looks like a slightly updated version of what you remember AOL looking like. It's kind of great, but it's also so slow.
It's silly. Well, at the same time, I mean, I guess they're living up to their promises, saying it'll always be there, just like the internet. Actually, now that I think about it, I once helped somebody with an email client that they've had for years. I
can't remember what it was called, but there's like a literal animated clip art butler that walks in from the side of your screen and goes like, "Your mail, sir," and like that's your email client. I think it's called Incredimail. That's what it was. Hasn't been updated for a long time, and I was just completely off topic. Shocked to find out that their website from 2007 still took $29.99 from them and gave them the program. It hadn't been updated in years, but they still took it.
I've seen it. I've seen software that doesn't even work anymore still being sold. They have a website up.
That's exactly what I thought that was going to be,
Yeah.
but I will be darned if it didn't load perfectly on Windows. I think it was 8.1 at the time.
Nice.
Oh,
Well,
God, 8.1.
they kept it updated.
All in all, I love this Lair idea, and I should find the people that made it because I have a bunch
I feel
of
like there would be
random
a lot of crossover between this and throwbacks, right?
Oh yeah.
Throwbacks layer.
Also, not necessarily a bad thing. Crossover interaction is kind of great.
And cross posting that's eventually that'll be like a tool on Den as well, where you can have an actual cross posting interface where it's rewarded and things like that for
cool.
Appropriate cross posting and things like that. Like people might be able to vote on your cross post to say yes, this is relevant to both layers and that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's really cool. Being able to even look at that and say like, hey, this person is making just bang up content at pretty much all times.
Yep, 100%.
Which a lot of our people do.
And Guma, New Science and Technology, proposed short name Sci-Tech. So this is a good example. I did look at this earlier briefly to see if there was anything different from the existing Sci-Tech layer, because that's literally the name, the long name and the short name of the existing Sci-Tech layer. Whenever you're putting these proposals up, if you have something that you're interested in, see if you don't already have that option in the layers available to you, and you might just not be following it because you don't see nothing. So here's all the layers, yada yada. What I was going to say though is like your home screen. Nothing shows up in this home screen unless you are subscribed to it, right? And so it's either going to be all of the layers you're subscribed to in your home feed, or and all of the individual people. If you go to following, it'll show you who you're following in alphabetical order. So all of those individuals and all of the layers you follow is what shows up in your home feed, which is either sorted by new or sorted by most popular. It looks like the Stellaris proposal is pretty popular right now. So just a reminder there. But if you go to layers and you scroll down to, I guess it would be S for Sci-Tech. Let me just page. And this is where you might miss it because there's a long list. But there is a science and space technology right there. Mm-hmm. So this one here, I'm hoping we get some more artwork and stuff on it whenever the governance tools land this week, I believe. These I mocked up just because I wanted something better than what I put there the first time. But let's see, layer information. We've got a handful.
No Man's Sky ships.
Oh yeah, those are. That's
I was like, I feel like I know that.
Yeah, they're reenacting the scene from the Star Wars spinoff Rogue One, I think, where they're skimming across the lake in the X-Wings, if you recall.
Oh yeah, are you sure it was Rogue One?
And then this, you know what? This might also, I don't know what this picture's from. I forget. It might be the same. I have no idea. It was something that fit at the time. Science and Space Tech has, here's what I was saying. There's a bunch of people in here. So we should all get together and vote on some stuff here pretty soon this week. I'll even, if I don't see it happen, I will throw up a proposal for, let's see, what can we do first here? Probably the description, right? I don't think there is a description. Layer information. Yeah, there should be a layer description right here. And there's not, so we can maybe add that as a trial just to get everyone voting and get everyone to weigh in. So everyone, if you're on this screen right here, will be able to vote on any proposal in this layer. And that's the same for any.
Pretty active.
Yeah. So yeah, the ones that came a little bit later that were part of the LCP process, they tend to have a lot more individual voters on it. And the ones that came earlier, when there were fewer members, tend to have only a handful of voters, or owners, I should say. And then something else is these are listed by amount of lot held. So the person at the top has the most, and the person at the bottom might have, the least, or does have the least. It doesn't tell you how much they have, just that, like, here's who, when you vote, you're weighing in with how many lot you have. So it's good to know who's, got the most vote influence in case, in case you have any questions. So there's that. It already exists. And so this one might, back. Here it is. This one might this one might not get created because it's like a straight dupe. But we'll see what happens with that. We'll discuss it internally and see if there's room for two. Maybe not. Moving on, I wanted to talk about what the governance tools are going to look like a little bit. But I also want some more coffee before I do that. So I think what I'm going to do is I will roll something that takes about 30 seconds to run to give me time to go do that.
Gives me time to go move the lizard, who is, if anybody has heard any weird scratching noises in the background, I apologize. I have a bearded dragon who is very unhappy right now, so I'm going to go move him over to his mother.
All right. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to literally put a 30-second countdown. Ready? Okay. We will be right back. Break time. All right, so that worked. I've got a few screen caps up here. These are all mock-ups. They're not the final version of what it's going to look like, but it does give you an idea of how easy it's going to be to do like DAO style voting and things like that.
Did I take longer than 30 seconds?
Yeah, 30 seconds goes quick, dude.
Man, I have no idea.
Chop, bro. Just one note. I should have scrubbed out some of the details on this, but it's from the Den development site where like things are staged and tried out to see if they work and try to iron out any bugs before it goes to production and things like that. So this person does not have 290,000 matter. No way.
I really like their name too. Good old Todd over here with his very long name.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's the testing version. So we wanted to make sure that really long names worked and see how they looked and that kind of thing.
It's just Todd Howard's account.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So there's different types of proposals. The GI is just like a general issue that doesn't have a particular category. It could be anything. And you can have up to like, I think 13 options on that. And then people who hold lot get to vote on it. So like I was talking about in the all those people on the screen that had lot for the science and space layer would be able to vote. So it's another reason to go get one of your lot tokens. It's another reason to throw some of that lore that you're already farming automatically. You might not even know you're farming it, but if you go in your wallet, it'll be in there and you can vote on proposals and you get ownership in layers and then you get to vote on these votes. So this is just an example of what's the best chocolate. Option 2 won, and it's got a little gavel next to it, just to indicate here's the one that won the won the proposal, right? And then mobile, same thing. If you're creating a proposal, it's just going to be a menu where you can add your options. You can type in what they are, and then you hit create. I think this post button will say create instead of post, and then it'll go up. It'll create the proposal, but it'll also create a post in the layer, so that people can see that there was a proposal made that explains it and things like that. And if you have, so options, there's a drop-down menu for what kind of issue you're creating, whether it's miscellaneous, whether it is you want to change the avatar, right? Like if you want to change the avatar of let's go back into where I was at a minute ago. I always do the cannabis layer because it's right up top. Quickest one to pick. But let's say you wanted to change this from a cannabis leaf to something else. Well, you could create or you could acquire that image, and then you can upload it into an avatar issue for voting. And when I say upload, I mean literally, like, if you're on a desktop, you can drag over and add a photo to the proposal, an image, and then once people vote on that image, yes or no, if it passes, the image just becomes the avatar and nobody has to go in and manually do anything. So effectively what we're doing is we're taking all of the lot holders who are Lair owners but not Lair admins, and we're making all of them Lair admins. Everyone's an admin if they hold lot now, because then you can either create or vote on a proposal. And the one caveat is that if you're a brand new user, you're going to have to interact on the platform just for a little bit to be able to have enough energy to post a proposal, because I think it's going to cost 50 energy to post a proposal, just to give a little bit of friction so it's not used as a spamming proposals.
So you can't just make a brand new account, make a proposal.
Yeah. And so the theory is a new account has 24 energy when they start to get you started, so you don't have to buy anything to get going and that kind of deal. So 50 minus 24, you would need 26 matter to get 50 energy, which would allow you to post a proposal. And that that weeds out bots, and that weeds out some malicious stuff and things like that. And it also it gives a little bit of friction, so you're thinking about what you're doing too.
It
so
also
that's what
weeds
that
out.
is going to look like. You what?
I had somewhere to go with that, but it's gone. Don't worry about it.
That's all right. So this stuff is going to drop this week, I think. It might even be out today at some point. And I plan on really using the crap out of it. We're gonna start our Den governance calls weekly instead of bi-weekly. There is a call tomorrow, by the way, and that's usually every other week, because there hasn't been. We did it weekly, and then we went to every other week because there wasn't like a reason to do it every week. But now, since governance is coming out, we'll be able to go through the layers and see who's proposing what, and kind of get an idea of how the communities are managing themselves and how they're making, like, what kind of changes they're making that maybe we didn't think of, that kind of thing. That's what I like. You just get all the brains in the room and give them the ability to do things themselves. And it's like, cool, here's the tools. Everyone use them. And let's see what we come out with.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So there's updates on LCP, and as a reminder, that'll get those will get created into this LCP section over here on the right. If you click on that, you get these. This is from last month, but all the layers we just went through, they get created. They get put into one of these layer creation, one of these proposals here, which is where it can get ranked and voted on and things like that. If you remember last time, we had the Elon Musk and the Urdi Hindi layers. Musk won, and the Hindi layer paid a fee of like 200 matter, I think, MTR, to get created. Because if you win, it gets created for free. If you don't win, you can still pay a fee to get it created.
Which
and
is
so
nice.
Those will be added to this list. And what's winning so far? Let's see. Because when we open this up for voting, which it's not, it'll open up with whatever's already on it, right? So the top ones by votes are going to be, let's see, we've got advice, motorcycle, and then it drops down. Den's got talent. I can't talk.
Den's got talent. That's a really cool sounding.
Yeah.
Thing.
So then it drops to 500,000 lore, and then, man, once we get through, I wonder. You know what? Never mind. I was going to say something, but I'll keep it to myself. And then by unique voters, we've got, motorcycle is going to win eventually, and advice as well. So advice has a chance of winning both categories.
Advice would be pretty good.
One thing that we can do, or that happens sometimes, is that you'll have, even though we have two categories, so you can get two layers that win. A lot of times, just like the Elon Musk layer, you'll have one layer that wins both categories, and so you only get one of them. So that could happen with advice, because they're way up here in unique voters, as well as number of votes as well. So
That's another layer that kind of ties in with some of the other ones I was talking about earlier that people are asking, general questions. So that advice might also work for that.
is related. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like I said, there might be a layer already, either proposed or created that you should check out. Ooh, AI would be good too.
Cool. Oh god, I've been burning through
Biohacking?
Snow Crash at work.
Baloney? What's baloney about?
Baloney.
What? Oh, or is this the city? What is this? Is there a people living in Baloney?
It's got to be a city.
I'm an American
living in Baloney.
I don't know the answer to this. So that's what. Oh, there is a city. Okay, it's a capital and largest city in northern Italy. Okay,
that's cool. I feel like we should know that already.
And I should probably call. I wonder how you pronounce it, because I have no idea. Because in the U.S.,
it's a terrible form of processed meat.
In the South, this is bologna.
Oh yeah, look at that. That with what is it, like mustard usually for some reason on white bread.
But not this. This is much prettier. It's the same color.
I was gonna say it's kind of the same color to be honest, but it looks great.
Okay,
see, why don't we live in places like this? Like, we live in a place where how much history do we get to see daily? Like, we can go down the street and there might be some Native American stuff, but we have like
you can go diving. You can find like mammoth teeth and things like that in the rivers from 10,000 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But there's not an Irish pub that used to be a cathedral that used to be like a shrine to some god. Like this epic history.
We genuinely put plaques on houses in old towns just for people that aren't from the U.S. that live out in places that you're surrounded by 500 or 600-year-old things all day long. We put plaques on houses that were built in the 1900s.
Yeah, right. 100 years old. That is ancient.
I was in Newbury the other day, and there's this place they have this thing called the Captain's House, which apparently was like one of the people that used to do something in the town or whatever. It was built in 1910. And it's like got this big plaque on it. It's like, all right, it's not really that old. I have books older than that.
Yeah, my wife. Sometimes we joke with each other about our cultures, American versus German. And whenever I visit Europe, it's like this. You see all these modern buildings in the back, and then you have all of these older buildings. Like they're all intermingled together.
Which is wild.
The same thing that you were just talking about, like, a 100-year-old house, there's a plaque on it, like, look how old it is.
Look how nice and old this is. It's like,
and so
you don't take care of it.
She would say something like, is the plaque there because it's old or because you're surprised it hasn't fallen down yet? Because it's made of wood and it's in Florida. And it's
bad. Let's be honest. Every single time, that would be fun. The next time I'm on my route, I should take a few pictures of some of the really old, like, historic houses we have here and just be like, look at this shed that just somehow hasn't collapsed yet.
Yeah. It ain't nothing like this.
No, God, no. That's insane.
It's cool. I was in UK in a town called Norwich. Off topic, but whatever. And it was really cool. This is the last place I was at. They had these really great outdoor markets. You see this is obviously a drawing, but
that might be.
It was like old town foot traffic. This is exactly what it was like, except more modern market booths and things like that. And you have all these squares. And then when you're walking between the buildings, you'll be down some alleyway, and there'll just be a random awesome outdoor patio that's a pub or a restaurant or something like that. Cool. And the social vibe is just so incredibly, just like, I don't know, it's different. It's hard to articulate what's different about it until you go there, but Europe's interesting.
Well, a lot of places that have been, we'll go ahead and put it this way, that have been around longer, tend to have this more friendly vibe to them most of the time. That's what I've heard from people that have gone abroad. Like my father-in-law spent a lot of time in Germany, and he'll mention stuff like that. He'll be like, hey, you can just walk down the street, and here's a bar that seats like 6 people. And there's already 3 inside of them, and you go in there, and they have they have a local beer that they've made. And they've been making it for 200 years, and everybody's like really friendly and wants you to talk to them and interact. And when you go to a bar here, if you try to talk to the guy next to you, he might hit you in the face for no real reason. A bit of a tangent about American bar culture versus other bar culture, but
No, all good. I was just getting sidetracked replying or tipping out Foost. Was it Foost? No. Tipping out. Who did I tip out just now? Street Meat. Is asking, what are qualities of posts you find yourself upvoting the most? Which is a great question. And I think that the last.
Well, your quality of posts, to be honest, Street Meat, I'm not even going to lie. I go through and I look at your stuff fairly regularly because you actually have pretty good stuff. So,
that's who. Oh, okay, cool.
This is the thing. Actually, I'm going to make a quick comment about this person.
Sure.
They do that. Like, they'll take something and they'll go and they'll send it somewhere else, or they'll even reply to it and be like, "Hey, what is your favorite thing about this?" And they try to like really engage and do community interaction, which is awesome.
Good questions, like thoughtful questions. Let's do this, David. Let's go to my home feed. I'm going to go to top posts, and I'm going to turn off comments so I only see the posts. And let's scroll down. Theoretically, I should see, let me just page down one page. And, what is this? I must have an issue with the transaction metrics page. Again, if that's down, I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Here's one from Creature Comforts,
That's one that I would look at to see how it is posted.
So what have we got? We've got, and we're talking about like what kind of stuff do I look for when I'm voting on stuff?
This is already something that I would look kindly at because you can tell right off that this is an actual person who's like, check out my cabbage. Like, let's learn how to make this. What is it? What are we souring a cabbage or?
What does it say? It says, how to sour cabbage, which I have no idea.
Recipe, which is awesome. I am not 100% sure.
Fermented vegetable, food preserve, popular in Balkan cuisines.
Okay.
So that's a good point. Right off the bat, I didn't know something. It's interesting. It's local to where this person lives, I'm sure, or at least from the culture that the person's experienced with. It's more than just a photo of a styrofoam box with food in it saying, would you pound this Panda Express, that kind of thing, which is fine. It's on topic. It's just not something I'm going to put a bunch of upvotes on,
No, like this is something that I would and probably will throw upvotes at just because it's nice content.
So this is information that's going to be on Den forever that people can reference whenever they are looking on the internet on a search engine for like, what is this? Well, they might find an article on Den that says exactly what this is, which brings in people. And this is one of the reasons that if you post in several places, that it's a lot more beneficial to post on Den first for the SEO, and also so that I believe that people would probably vote it up higher if it was like there's some posts that are obviously copied from somewhere else because it even has links to like tagging people on other networks that aren't on Den. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So you can tell a lot of times whenever something's original content or when something is copied. So this is cool. There's actually a bunch of photos of the whole process here.
Yeah, this is neat.
There's details. There's I don't know where these images are hosted. They're not hosted on Den because you can only add 4 at a time whenever you're adding. But you can add inline photos if you know how to do that with Markdown or with HTML. That can be one of our videos that we're making.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
So
this is cool.
So this is I'm not going to read through all of it right now. I'll scroll through it, but this is looking delicious. First of all,
see, I'm not a huge fan of pickled foods, but I kind of wish I was because there's so many other places that, like Korea, for instance, loves to pickle stuff. And like when I used to work for the computer shop, like my boss at the time loved kimchi and stuff like that. And I was like, wish I liked this stuff more.
I also want to say every post doesn't have to be this huge, like amazing, like complicated to write post. It can be a very good post and get just as many points if it's shorter. The main thing that I look for is that there's effort put in. It's either original content or you have an original opinion on the content that you're posting, that there are maybe references or like you've linked to references for something that you're talking about. Um,
I'm
the
also a little bit less.
accurate. Like it's just it fits in the category of the layer. What else can you think of that
I'm a
would
little
want
bit less. So what is the word I want to use here? I'm a little bit more lenient too when it comes to what I'm looking for. When it comes to communities and layers that are really specific, like I guess the best way to put it is like if I'm in the history layer and somebody just posts like a quick link to something that's really cool, as long as they take the time to like say, hey, this is what this is, and type it up themselves, and they're not just copying and pasting from somewhere else. Like, hey, this is something that was found today and it's really cool. Here's all of my sources. Like, even though you were saying about shorter content, even though that's not something that it's just a picture and a really short little bit of information. It's not something that somebody's taken 2.5 hours to type up, but they took the time to link their sources, and that's still just good content. So that's stuff that I would upvote a lot.
You know what else I can say that's really kind of quick to explain is that, and I'll just, while I'm saying this, I'll switch over to get the newer post and we'll go through some of them to hopefully find some to downvote. But Den is so new, it's so early that the threshold of quality is relatively low. Like the bar is not very high to stand out. Now that is not true in some of the layers that don't have any filters on reputation settings, like the music layer used to be, because you could put quality content in and it would get drowned out and people wouldn't see it. So that's something the community has to come together and figure out for themselves. You know, we can help, but mostly what Den's going to do is give you the tools, show you how to use them, and then the community has to figure out how to filter out the crap. Or not the crap, just the less desirable content, or the content that maybe belongs in a different layer and not that one, that kind of thing.
Yeah, stuff that's just in the wrong location.
Yeah, I don't want to be too negative, but what I was going to say is that it's relatively low bar for quality because of how early it is. Now, what you're going to see is over time, when you get more creators and you get more competition, you're going to be fighting for the same, not fighting, but you're going to be competing for the same 1,000 tokens that get issued every day. Just as a reminder, there's a finite permanent, well, I say permanent, for like 1,300 years. It's pretty permanent. There's an emission rate
permanent
of
for all of us, more than likely.
1,000 MTR or matter tokens per day that is shared among the entire Den.Social website, right? So everybody's competing for the same 1,000 tokens. So as you get more competing creators on, you're going to find that, number one, you're going to get a little bit less matter per post over time, which is not necessarily an indication that people value you less. It's more of an indication that there's more users to spread out the rewards.
Which is good. That's just growth overall.
And then you should notice over time that as a user and as a creator, you're going to have to continue upping your game. You know, like maybe every couple of months, you got to like, okay, and everybody else is kind of like, man, this guy over here, or wow, this user over there has really got some, I gotta make sure I'm not posting on the same day they are. And that's where you can go in and, you know, strategize a little bit. So expect that it is coming, that it'll be a more and more scarce resource over time. So let's see if we can find something to pick on.
To be honest, there hasn't been a whole ton of pick-onable stuff.
I have not had, I used to have like Brim a lot because I grew up, well, you know where I grew up, out in the woods.
Pulling them out of the creek.
So this is not as long of a post as the other one was, but it's a food log number 172, which I assume means I haven't been paying attention as much to the creature comforts layer, I guess, but apparently there's 171 more of these.
I see the little food log tag sometimes as I'm rolling through there.
A food log doesn't have to be a big, like, complicated post. Not that the other one was complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Morning words don't work out for me sometimes. Point is,
their mom's cooking.
This is a dandy post. That's my point. The person went through what they had, how it was prepared, and things like that, and I think it's great. So one person has voted on it, so I'm going to vote on it, and I'm going to vote just as much as I voted for the last person. I think I did 3 or 6, something like that. This slider is a Fibonacci sequence. And so that's why it skips up like that. You can only vote in a Fibonacci number, and that's it. So that's why that does that. If you didn't
well, that explains the question I was going to ask you later.
Yep. So original, yep. Photography, homemade, apparently. I will not vote on lunch because I don't know. It is a food blog. So some of these tags are a little bit relative, I guess. I don't know. Local, I don't know where this person lives and if it's local. I don't think they're lying.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like something that somebody would just type up for no real reason.
Yeah, I do want to say that we're probably going to end up limiting tags to just 3 in the future because
Which
a
is
wall of
definitely
tags
good.
doesn't help as much as you might think. I'll go ahead and say that it's not a recipe. Is there a recipe in here? Man, anywhere, Malaysian, Chinese.
Sort of.
Cook some fried fish and normally. All right, the fish is a whole, scaled, cleaned, shallow fried in vegetable oil, seasoned with salt, 15 minutes. I mean, yeah, simple
nice,
recipe.
yeah.
All you need is salt and pepper on a fish, man. So I'll
I
say
like
it
fish
is
more
recipe
than
there. It is a savory dish, and it is not. There's pictures of vegetables.
that is a
There's-
fruit, my friend.
It's a fruit, not a vegetable. Either way, it's not. It is seafood, though. They did say it was Chinese. And this person's probably a foodie because they do a food blog. So I'll go through and I'll vote on some of those. I'll vote down on the one that I'm confident that it's not. And the other ones that I don't know about, I just won't weigh in because I don't know. And it is delicious. I've had this before, so that's fine. Just from personal experience. You can have it for lunch or for dinner, I guess. I don't know. So there is an example of another post that is not as in-depth as the one that had a lot of upvotes and was trending, that now hopefully it'll bump it up a little bit higher and people can see it.
But it's
That's-
equally just good content.
Those are equally good, in my opinion, you know?
Complete side tangent, speaking of creature comforts. I think it's the user Bit by the Coin, I'm pretty sure. They posted in the creature comforts board a couple of days ago about some Christmas cookies.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I have
Yep,
been
I
thinking
remember that.
about these caramel-filled snickerdoodles for like 2 days now, and I think I might go pick up the stuff to make them.
Yeah, BitBuy, I want to say started that layer. Might be the admin of that layer.
I think so. I saw. I kind of went and checked around. They're one of the Lair owners.
Here's an interesting post. This is a post in the cryptocurrency layer, and it's boosted. And it asks, it's down to 12. Anyone think cake will rebound? And I think it's interesting because I would vote it down. And here's why. I don't really know what it's talking about, for one. I would have to leave Den. Assuming I know what Pancake Swap is, I would have to go search and find out what Pancake Swap is. And it's down to 12 could mean what? It's down to 12. Is it 12 Bitcoins? Is it $12? Is it 12 cents? You know, like I have no idea what this is talking about, except for I happen to know that Pancake Swap is a Binance Smart Chain decentralized exchange, right? It's a BSC DEX. Now, if I didn't know that, this is something that would just be like in the way of a different post. The other reason I'm going to downvote it is because some might disagree with me here, but I don't think that this has anything to do with cryptocurrency, right? So PancakeSwap has a token, and that token is a crypto token on the Binance Smart Chain. But when I say cryptocurrency, I would like to discuss cryptocurrency. This is maybe something that could go in the trading lounge layer, where you're talking about trading on charts and things like that. When I think of cryptocurrency, I think about like what cryptocurrency has the potential for, what kind of problems it could solve that maybe weren't solvable in the past, what kind of new projects are out there that you maybe want to tell people about. Hey, there's this new OR system thing, for example. Maybe your friend that's really into the OR system can come on to Den in the cryptocurrency layer and say, hey, here's this new OR system. Let me tell you about it. Here's what they're doing, and here's why I think that project is actually, special and interesting. But if you're only talking about the chart, the price going up and down, that kind of thing, I would say that the trading layer is a very good place for that. And there's good info in the trading layer. So I'm going to vote this down, and I'm actually going to vote it down quite a bit because I feel pretty strongly about this being, I don't want it to take the place of somebody else's content that's actually relevant and actually has some thought put into it to explain what it's talking about in the first place.
Yeah, this is more just looks like somebody just needed to post a random thought and just kind of threw it out right there and was like, let's boost it.
I do that all the time on Twitter. My Twitter is a shit show. But
on Twitter.
Yeah, and so I'm picking on you, but I'm not in a mean way. I hope you don't take it personally. Just a little bit of direction there. So I'm going to say this is not news. This is original. It is not Bitcoin. It's not even on the Bitcoin network. There's no chart involved. I don't see a chart posted here. There's no analysis here. There's no analysis being done saying here's why it's down to 12 pancakes or muffins or whatever. And it is DeFi though. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't just already know that. So I'm going to add a tag. I'm going to add the wrong layer tag. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to add that, and it's going to show up, but it's not green, right? Do you have this up on your
I can pull it up.
Page? Here, I'm going to put the link in chat for you because I want to do a little experiment.
Okay.
Private chat.
I just had it a second ago.
And like I said, Mark Clements 9, don't take this personally. I'm just demonstrating something here. So see if you can go in and vote on my wrong layer tag.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull this up here.
So I'm going to pull you up now. So here's
absolutely.
grab voting.
Yeah, I absolutely can. Just go right there and click on wrong layer.
All
it's already applied.
All right. So on yours, it's green. On mine, it's transparent. You just clicked on it. I'm going to refresh. You voted it up. And now, see, it's up here, third from the top. And it also
they just see us at the moment.
What's that?
They just see us at the moment.
Who's they?
The people that are watching this. It's just me and you on the screen, not your screen.
Thank you. I didn't put mine back up. See, this is why I need you. Who is this they you speak of?
Who are these people out in the world?
So I refreshed, and now these were all green before. Now there's a bunch of gray ones.
They were grayed out for me too when I went and voted too. So good. It's definitely doing its job.
Cool. So it was taking immediately. That's good. And so now you have original DeFi wrong layer, which has some consensus. Now it doesn't have a bunch. Other people can come and vote too. But right now there's at least 2 of us voting saying one way or the other. And they've reorganized the order that the tags are in. And then eventually, if enough people vote down on these, have you voted down on any of them?
I did, actually. I went through, I believe.
If enough people vote down together like that, I think that tag just goes away. Or it might turn red or something like that. I haven't done that in a while.
I think it turns red. I've seen red ones. Or I've seen ones that are like becoming red. So I don't know if it like kind of changes color based on that.
Gotcha. Last thing I want to say about this is that with the boost, okay, here we go. So total 1 matter. Great. So this person's boosted. They've put 1 MTR in to boost it so that it highlights it and puts a little rocket ship next to it. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay. And then based on how people vote on it, the user will either get most of that matter back or it'll go to the community. So in other words, if we vote down on it, which we have, this MTR will end up going to the community instead of going back to the user. If everyone votes it up, I think 85% of it gets returned back to that user. So if it was a boosted post that got voted up, and see now
that's our answer.
I think other people that were watching might have voted on it to see what happens. So you get more consensus. Now they turn red, and now you know that more than one person has said no, this is not a relevant tag. So on the flip side, though, if this was something like one of the other ones that were trending or whatever, and that person had boosted it in the beginning, they actually would get that money returned back to them as a reward for creating basically an ad that isn't an ad. It's something that is, that the community finds valuable and votes up on.
Something they actually want to see and read, as opposed to an ad. Not usually a huge fan of seeing an advertisement for Colgate toothpaste in the middle of my YouTube video.
Street Meat's got a great point here about new tags for the gaming layer. The gaming layer could use some
Street Meat
organization,
right
and
now.
it seems like there's at least a half a dozen people who are motivated to actually like make the gaming layer something that's not worth, but something that's more useful right now than it is. And that could just be simply tags for, let's say we did get a Den guild going, where we were like, okay, cool. We're all going to, for example, let's say we wanted to go play some game that was a cryptocurrency game, and it was play to earn. And everything, or maybe half of what we earn there, we put into our community layer somehow, or maybe we, you know what? I was going to come up with an idea on the spot and then it didn't come yet. So never mind. Point is, tags could be for things like that. Tags could be for certain styles of games and things like that. But what I'll say to Street Meat is yes. And then once we get Lair Governance out today or this week, or maybe at the latest, if something last minute needs to be changed, maybe early next week, but probably today. All of these users will be able to propose a vote, and will also be able to vote on the layer. So yourself, Angel Breaker, Jason, Rikio Spaka, BitBuy, Spanzel.
Hey, speaking of BitBuy,
Eternal. I guess I'm not an owner in here. I might have to go to OpenSea and buy a lot.
I'm kind of surprised you're not. Now that I think about it.
Well, I was later. I was not here in the beginning. I came a little bit later, so I didn't get the first round of created layers. So cool. Original. Good point. I'll answer him later because I don't want to stall for too much longer. Cool. So that hopefully answers the question about what do you look for in top posts and things like that. I've lost myself now. Let me go back to my agenda. I think we've gone through it.
We've gone through the agenda. We're more into just looking at things now.
Let's see. Here I am. And let's see if there's any more that's popped in here since we've been away. So I'll go to the bottom. Fust, I will reply in your firearms layer proposal. I think I already did. Let me see. Because this one, we already talked about it, but yeah, let's see. I replied in here. This was my first gun. It's not the same one exactly, but it's a youth 410 shotgun. Back, Den, back. Did I open a new tab? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Back, Den, back.
So yeah. So did I say anything about? Yeah, I put some thoughts in here, but it was more about me than anything else. No, the proposal looks good. I think that this proposal looks great. It's
I'm definitely going to vote. I'm going to vote nicely for them.
Not trying to be the general info in the bottom, like that was a good thing to add at the end. It is very just, objectively, let's talk about firearms. What is that comedian that said the best argument for anti-gun control was fuck off, I like guns. Some Australian comedian.
I have no idea.
All right, cool. So there is, I think this is going to be Coffee with Den. I think we're going to call it. What do you think? You have anything you want to talk about?
Let's see. I'm checking to see now if there's anything that I want to bring up, but I think we went through everything really nicely.
Something I'll show you real quick while we're on is last week we said we were going to make that mining video, the Raptorium miner. So I got this box, and I made a mistake. The mistake I made was reading the box.
Show me what this is.
Yeah, it says RAM on it, right? So I was like, sweet, we got the RAM.
The RAM showed up.
Yeah, the RAM showed up. I didn't open the box. What's actually in the box, I thought it was 512 gigabytes of RAM.
We both wish it was 512 gigabytes of RAM.
But it is a fancy case with a fancy hard drive in it.
Ooh. Okay, that's nifty.
Fancy SSD, right? Isn't that dope?
That's almost cooler, but we can't get boot with those.
So that'll be a Chia plotter hard drive But we unfortunately we got to source some more memory. I had such a steal on it too.
I've
so
thought
we'll
for
find some more used memory.
I've thought for like 6 days now that we've had RAM in stock. So you told me yesterday, you were like, "Oh yeah, no, we don't have memory yet," and I'm just like, darn it! Now I have no idea how long it's going to take to build it now. It's such a nice machine. To anybody out there that knows hardware, it's the most powerful box I think I've ever been in the room with. So it's like, oh yeah, we can build this. No memory.
And then, so somebody put up in one of the proposals, like a general news layer would be good. I just remembered this morning, I was reading about the helicopter crash over in India where one of their top military official got killed. And I wanted to put it on Den, but there wasn't like a world news layer, but the politics layer was close enough because, I mean, we are talking about politics here when you lose a lot of your nation's, I don't know, brass brains, I guess. I don't know. I hope that they can hold it together over there and that nobody takes advantage of that because the world is weird right now. And that, they're worried about Pakistan and China over there. And, this is a person who had been vocal about China. So I wanted to post it, but there's not, that person is right. There's not like a general news location. So maybe that would be a good layer.
Yeah, world news layer would be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, David, I think I'm going to call it, and we are going to meet up later again today, and we're going to talk about some oxen nodes and things like that.
Sounds good to me.
So, thanks everyone again for hanging out with us. We will see you next week, same time, same place, and here I go again, talking my way out without.
We got to figure out how to end these one of these days.
That
seems to be the worst part.
I know how to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. All right, that's it. Thank you. Tune in tomorrow for World Blockchain Roundtable. That's going to be 11 o'clock Eastern, my time. So that would be, what does that mean? 8 o'clock a.m. on the West Coast in California? Or, math.
Not my strong point.
4 p.m. in the Netherlands, maybe? Something like that. Anyway, World Blockchain Roundtable is going to be about the metaverse. And we're going to have, I just heard back from a NFT artist and metaverse artist that's going to be joining us. And it should be a good time. So tune in for that. DenGov call tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern as well. We will go over all of the governance features that should be implemented by then. Maybe we can actually demo them as well. So that would be cool. All right. That's it. Everybody have a good day. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you around.
Y'all have a great one.